Spellforce 3. Is it worth a buy? Let's read the words, and the words of the developer. It is the year 518. The rebellion of the renegade mages known as the Mage Wars has been quashed by the Crown. However, it was a victory. Whole regions have fallen into anarchy. Refugees roam the lands in search of shelter, and a mysterious deadly plague called the Bloodburn has arisen and is spreading rapidly. In times like these, people cling to any sign of hope they can find. The purity of light, led by a charismatic man called Rhondda Lacane, claims that mages are the source of all misfortune, and that only one second coming of Arianor, the father of all gods, will return back to its former splendour. Yes, guys, it's another RPG isometric-y game. The last game I reviewed was Divinity Original Sin 2, which was absolutely freaking amazing, and I can't wait to play that through in co-op. And this one here is also absolutely freaking amazing, and I can't wait to play this one through in co-op as well. This one is similar in looks to Divinity. It looks almost as nice. In fact, it looks as nice. It's a really nice looking game, this, and it's very similar in the way you control everything as well. You have real-time movement of the characters around the game worlds. The difference with this one is it's just not quite as good as Divinity. It's a lot shorter. The campaign's 30 hours, but it is fully co-op, guys. Fully co-op campaign again, which I love. The character customization isn't as good. It's a lot shallower. For example, when you are customizing your spells and your abilities, there's just not a great deal of them. You do have 3 different trees that you can choose from, but the trees aren't very deep. I found they were kind of lacking a little bit, but they are still good. I mean, you know, don't take that as too much of a negative, because that's like more of a nitpick. The trees are just, I'd like them to be a bit deeper and a bit bigger. The combat is really freaking good, guys. Remember in Divinity when I said I love the turn-based combat, because I couldn't possibly see how they could do a game like Divinity with real-time combat. Well, now I do know how they would do it, and they've done it bloody great in this. I struggled at first. I really did struggle at first, because I was so not used to it. Things were happening way faster than I wanted them to. But once I kind of sussed out what was going on, no problem whatsoever, having a blast with this. Essentially, the way combat works in this, when you get into an encounter, let's say you have a party of 3 people, tank, maybe a healer, and maybe a mage. I rolled a mage. That's what a battle mage I am, specialising in fire damage and things like that. When you go into combat, your tank automatically runs in and starts spamming his shit, you know, to try and taunt them all over to him. He has certain abilities that he can use, like a shield bash, which is a great interrupt if you wait for the enemy to cast like a spell. One of the maybe the heroes, the enemy heroes, or the enemy villains, if you like, because the troops in this game are kind of like bosses and just like trash mobs. So obviously you want to be going for the bosses, the main bosses. And if you don't panic, unlike what I do, you can time your shield bash to interrupt a spell cast, which I do about 50% of the time, but I'm pretty shit at it at the minute. By the way, I've done 10 hours in this like I did in Divinity, so it's kind of fair. I know kind of a lot about what's going on, so I can give you a really good feel for what the game's like. But let's say, like, I've got a healer and a mage. Well, my healer's an archer as well. As I hold Alt down on the desired enemy that I want to attack, I get all the different attacks that my guys could do on that guy, and they kind of stack as well, so you can like queue them up, which I love. It's freaking great. You can just fire an ability at him that when you attack him, you get healed. So you fire that first, and then you fire other abilities, and when they auto attack him, they get healed. And it's just so damn good. It also slows time down to give you enough time to actually cast these spells. It just works so damn well, guys. It works so damn well. Or you can just manually click the spells in the top left where your guys' avatars are and cast them that way if you want. So I really do enjoy the combat of this game. As with any RPG, you can fully customize your characters as well. You get gear, you've got your gear slots. It's pretty much standard RPG stuff, You have your armor, your helmet, your sword, your shield, or whatever, your dual wielding, your two-handed weapon. You have rings for your fingers. You have places to put talismans and things like that. So you can do quite a bit of customizing with gear and that, and there's loads of gear to get in this game. Gear is just all over the place if you search everywhere. Another little gripe that I've got is the actual way you view, the isometric view. It's not like in Divinity where they did it so well in Divinity, where the actual roofs of buildings or high walls that obscure your characters will just kind of vanish so you can see them. They don't in this. So you've got to be pressing the Q and E to kind of turn it around, and it's clunky. It's clunky and bloody annoying, especially when you're in a cave or some kind of big building where there's lots of different rooms. It does get on your tits a little bit. But that's pretty much it as far as the faults of this game. There's a few people having bugs in it. I haven't had any. It's running like a dream. No problem whatsoever. Now, no RPG is complete without a good story. And this one, I really love the fucking story. This whole idea that mages are being put to death. Mages aren't allowed to use powers to kill. They're allowed to have powers, but they're not allowed to use them. It is so good that there's these conspiracies going on. You meet different races. You meet the elves, you meet orcs, and the elves have their theory about what's going on, and you're genuinely interested in the story, and it's really well told. It's really well told. Now, what I love about this game is it plays like Divinity in the sense of you have hero characters that I've already talked about, that you level up and you give new attributes to, you open new spell trees, give them gear and all that. But in certain times of the campaign, and it happens quite often, you will be tasked to defend maybe a hamlet or to rout out an enemy army, and then it turns into a really cool RTS game. I mean, one of the best RTS games ever made was the Lord of the Rings ones, the Battle of Middle-earth. Now, this isn't as good as that, but it's kind of a bit like that and a bit like Warcraft. You know, I don't mean World of Warcraft, I mean like, you know, Warcraft 1, 2 and 3, remember them? It's a bit like that in the sense that you build up, you know, you get your peons and that, and they chop down the trees and all the rest of it. And it's so good. It's so good. The AI is really good as well, and you have some really, it's tough. It isn't an easy game, this. It's not an easy game, this. It's quite a tough one. I've had some really close calls. I've had to reload a few times, lost all my guys. The orcs can be savages, absolute savages, charging into your base on the wargs and stuff. It's really, really good game. So you're getting the best of both here. You're getting a really cool RTS that's kind of like Divinity style, where you're just taking your heroes around dungeons and cave systems. You meet all manner of different people, but it has these RTS battles that are really cool as well. And outside of the main campaign, you can play skirmish mode against the AI or co-op against the AI on 6 maps with this skirmish RTS game. You've also got multiplayer as well against other people in the RTS battles as well. It's an absolute cracker of a game, this. Totally complete. It has everything, guys. It has everything if you are an RTS fan. It's not cheap. Obviously it's not cheap, but it's $39.99, and it is on Green Man Gaming, by the way. But it isn't the cheapest of games. But when you look at the kind of bantha piss that we've been fed over the past 2 months from these so-called AAA fucking developers at the same price and more than this, then you got to say this is well worth a buy. Well, this is great value for money, guys, for what you're getting. It's a great game. It's a complete game. And if you're into this kind of medieval RTS stuff, you will enjoy it. It's going to be a great Christmas, guys. I've got 2 games now that I want to play co-op, that I want to stream, that I want to have fun in, that are right up my alley, if you pardon the expression. And I love it. I absolutely love it. It's a definite thumb up. And if you're into RTSs, go and get it. You won't be disappointed. It's freaking great.